Welcome to the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast, where business owners, thought leaders, and community champions from across Central Illinois come to share their story. The Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. Anything less would be uncivilized.
What's up, Central Illinois? I am Derek Hayden. I'm here with Garrett Ulmer. We are your hosts for the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast, powered by Zambu.
Feel the tingle.
Zambu yet? It is the liqueur invented by a Central Illinoisan for Central Illinoisans. Zambu, taste the tingle. Before we get any further with Zambu, let's go ahead and introduce today's guest. So today's guest was a 2011 Millikan University graduate. He is a member of the Decatur Rotary. He is on the Decatur Zoning Board of Appeals. He's the co-founder of University Dogs and the managing broker at Main Place Real Estate in Decatur, Illinois. Central Illinois, please welcome to the show, Mr. Zane Peterson. How are you doing, Zane?
Great. Thanks for having me on, Derek and Garrett.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm excited to have you.
Yeah. The Central Illinois podcast is very cool. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here and chat with you guys, and really appreciate you guys bringing this out there to the World Wide Web for everyone to, put Central Illinois further on their map.
Awesome.
There we go, for sure.
We appreciate the kind words. We like we talked about a little bit before we hopped on here. We've got a lot of people fooled that think we know what we're doing. So we just keep rolling with it, man. So
right.
No, thanks for following us and thanks for being a guest. So what we'll do now is I'll kick it over to Garrett, and Garrett will take you through our speed round to allow our listeners and viewers to get a better idea of who Zane Peterson is.
Yep. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask some pretty probing questions. So, hopefully you're ready for those. It's just for our worldwide, followers to get a better idea of who Zane is. So if you're ready, we'll go ahead and jump into those.
All right. I'm ready.
All right. So tell us about the first concert that you ever attended.
Dave Matthews Band in Chicago in 1998.
All right.
Dad took me to see that at the United Center.
You said your dad did?
Yep.
That is cool. All right. Your favorite movie?
Oh boy. That's a tough one. There's just a lot of movies out there. I got to go with Forrest Gump. That's just a good all-American.
I like it.
Absolutely. That's a first. We haven't heard that one yet. Your favorite ice cream flavor?
Mint chocolate chip.
That was quick. iPhone or Android?
Android.
Oh no.
Yeah. Rocking the Google phone.
Favorite social media platform?
LinkedIn. I have to say it's a little bit more constructive than destructive than all the others that are out there.
Yeah, for sure. I think we both will. I think that Derek and I both have trended to utilize LinkedIn a lot more than maybe what we did a year or two ago. So for sure. And then last one, the best one is why Central Illinois?
Well, I'm originally from the Chicagoland area and came down here to study finance and play on the golf team at Millikan University. During that time period, purchased my first house when I was 19 years old, rented it out to some college buddies, didn't want to pay the high dormitory or, off-campus living. And then shortly after that, my dad sold his business in Chicago, and he was kind of tired of the rat race and, commute and all that, dealing with, honorary people. And he was somewhat retired and invested in University Dogs, a little hot dog burger, French fry place on the edge of Millikan's campus, if anyone's been there. That was about 2011. So I was finishing up my college degree. We started a restaurant. I already had a house. I was roommates with my dad and a couple business partners for a brief while as we were getting it going and kind of bootstrapping the restaurant. And it's kind of no looking back since then. I think there's a lot of opportunities in Central Illinois.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's a great story, man.
Yeah. So it sounds like you got into real estate from a pretty early stage, even as you were still in college. So is that what sparked your interest into becoming a real estate broker? Was the purchasing that first house and renting it to some college guys?
Yes, definitely. Probably sometime in high school, I kind of developed a passion for real estate, started reading like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which isn't necessarily a real estate book, but definitely swayed some of my thoughts to go more entrepreneurial. And then while in school, I worked for a private real estate investor in Decatur as well. So I learned a lot about real estate. My dad kind of always had a passion to open up a Chicago style hot dog place. So helped him out. And my plan at the time was to kind of help him out and do real estate. And then once you start a business like that, it's kind of turns into 24/7. There's always something to do. And, I helped out my dad and a couple college friends start that and kind of get it from the crawling to walking stage.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Now,
cool.
you said you were originally and you grew up in Chicago.
Correct. North suburbs, Morton Grove.
Okay. So I know for probably a lot of individuals that come down to Central Illinois for the first time, had you been or visited Central Illinois very much before making it down here? Was it quite a bit of a culture shock when you made the move?
I visited like northwestern Illinois, some, rural Illinois areas. So it wasn't all that big of a culture shock. I have to say people are friendlier, a lot easier to get around. My wife and I, we love, going to Chicago, St. Louis, taking weekend getaways, splurge for a hotel for one night and just, let's go. And it's all easy to get to, and we can wake up the next morning and make it back here for an appointment if we have to. So that's what I love about it. I think it's just ease of living, and all the fun stuff to do is still within reach. And, the day-to-day is just a lot easier than dealing with traffic for hours or public transportation, et cetera. The worst thing that seems to happen here is, that railroad crossing goes down and you might be stuck for a little while.
I know.
Exactly.
We think we have traffic jams in Central Illinois till you go to a big city, and then you really find out what a traffic jam is all about. So
yeah,
exactly.
Makes me appreciate that.
I think, I've really loved it and learned to appreciate it. And I think even furthermore so every year that I've spent here.
Gotcha. Awesome.
That's cool.
So it looks like before you became a managing broker at Main Place Real Estate, you got some experience with another brokerage possibly. So what made you decide to, now are you the managing broker at Main Place, or do you have a co-managing?
I'm the designated managing broker.
Okay.
And our sponsoring broker is Main Place Properties.
Okay.
They've been in the Central Illinois community since 2006, maybe longer. They own and develop real estate in the Decatur and surrounding Midwest areas. And basically there's an opportunity over 3 years ago. I formed a team at my previous brokerage company with my business partner, Chris Harrison.
Okay.
And that was a way for us just to create more opportunities for ourselves, try not to let things slip through the cracks, just kind of divide and conquer. Chris, had a family, young kids. I was single at the time. So, weekend showings, things like that would come up and I was on it, and just kind of vice versa. We just helped each other out and grew together. And over 3 years ago, I had the opportunity to partner with Main Place Properties and form basically a new entity, Main Place Real Estate, which does a full service brokerage.
Cool.
Gotcha.
Cool. So do you personally, Zane, do you focus on commercial, residential? What's your main focus?
Both commercial and residential, really.
Okay.
If I were to break down my time, probably like 70-30. And really the best part of this is Chris and I have the opportunity to manage other brokers and help them grow and kind of share with them our experiences of best tactics and growth models. And, and that's really fun, is watching other younger people on our team grow within the industry and
Nice.
having the opportunity to work alongside them and kind of create new opportunities with them. So that's
awesome.
really the most exciting part of starting Main Place Real Estate in my viewpoint.
Very cool. So it seemed like probably about the time that you started getting into real estate, around the 2010-11 mark, it seemed like there was a big boom, like real estate all of a sudden got, for lack of a better term, got real sexy for people. Like, I don't know if it was the $1 million listing, being on TV, but people are like, oh man, that seems like a cool industry to get in. And then it kind of it's still gaining popularity with especially young entrepreneurs who are seeing the opportunity there. So it's kind of I guess the first question off of that is, do you see more and more competition in your industry, and how does Main Place separate yourselves from the pack?
That's a good question. Yeah, it's definitely a competitive industry. Real estate broker, you run into somebody at a coffee shop or at a restaurant, chances are they can name a couple friends or their best friend's aunt is a real estate broker or something like that. So there's always competition out there. Ultimately, it comes down to delivering value to the client and the end user. And, it's a sales role, but as with all sales, I don't really think it's about selling a product. I don't have one product to sell. I'm going to match whatever inventory is out there to your needs. I'm going to help guide you through the process. And, that's kind of how I view myself really as an advisor. And for both our residential clients that we work with and our commercial clients, ultimately you might end up buying, you might end up selling, but it's a process, and we're going to help you through that process to determine what's best for you and your family and your stakeholders.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I feel like Derek and I kind of have a very similar process. Everybody's got a product to sell, and at the end of the day, it doesn't always come down to price. Most of the time, there's got to be an added value in there for them. And like you said, we try to be advisors as well, and that seems to, I feel like most of the time, win in the long run. So that's awesome.
And I'm glad you brought up the price point, because I think price is ultimately in a lot of real estate decisions like less than 20% of the decision.
Yeah.
Especially in like commercial real estate transactions where you're looking at logistics and traffic counts and, that price point, if you're able to, for commercial, obviously there's a benefit there, right? Someone's buying a property, they're going to make money back. And even for residential, when people really, really put their values in line, and, if it's worth the extra $10,000, well, hey, over 30 years, that's like going out to a nice restaurant once a month to have, potentially the home of your dreams versus letting that threshold get in the way. So
exactly.
Yeah, really good point, Garrett.
I heard a good quote. I can't even remember where it came from, but the saying it was price is the only focal point in the absence of value.
Yeah.
And of course, we see it in the insurance industry. I feel like that becomes the main thing that insurance professionals have focused on is, let me get you a quote, see if I can get you a better price. That's because they've not been taught how to provide value, or it's harder to provide value than to just get a quote on price. So unfortunately, in my opinion, that's what's caused the negative view on the insurance industry. Is there's a lot of insurance peddlers out there who are just trying to get a quote and hopefully come back with a better price. And there's not much value being given there. Now, there's plenty of professionals out there who do a great job of actually delivering value. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people that they're just living and dying off of the insurance quote. And like you said, Zane, there's a lot that goes into providing value, being an advisor for your client. And the clients that you want, those are the ones who are looking for that value. They know that they're hiring a trusted advisor to, work with professionally on whatever product they're trying to buy or service they're trying to buy. So I think the more you can provide value, the more you're going to attract that prospect or client that you're really wanting to work with. So there's a lot to be said there.
Zane, I could talk about
100%.
the advisor stuff all day long. When you first started, do you feel like that you were just trying to sell anything you could sell, or did you early on develop that kind of advisor role?
Pretty early on. Obviously, insurance, real estate, it's kind of that tough grind to get rolling. It's really you got to eat, sleep, and breathe it for first couple of years to really kind of get some momentum.
Yep.
But no, it's always just been helping people. And hey, if this isn't the right house, I don't want you calling me up in 6 months telling me that you're upset with your purchase.
Yeah.
I would rather take time and, let's wait 2 months. Let's find the right house for you. And really a lot of first time home buyers, on the residential side of things, sometimes it's not even the best time to buy. Like maybe you're better off renting for a year, saving up some more money, and then you can buy a house that isn't a fixer upper or, in a better neighborhood, things like that. And that's something that we practice and preach and try to share that vision with our team and with our clients.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And I feel like that will pay off in the long run. I mean, I doubt I hear too many realtors out there saying, go rent and the right thing will come along. But that's great advice to somebody instead of pushing them into a home that maybe they're just not ready to, or it's not exactly what they're thinking they need at that time.
Right. I mean, it's got to line up. It's got to be someplace you're comfortable with. That's going to be your house. You're showing up there every day. And, if there's an issue, if the front door falls off, you're the one who's responsible to fix it. So,
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
yeah.
So Zane, I feel like the real estate market right now has some unique aspects going on. I know, and I don't focus on the commercial side a ton, but even on both sides, from what I can tell, there's very limited properties on the market. Is that true?
There is. Yeah. For Macon County, which is our primary residential territory, is, we went from an average of 700 homes on the market 3-4 years ago to less than 200 right now.
Wow.
So that's not much to choose from. You got some, price ranges where there's like 6 homes on the market. And,
yeah.
If you're in that price range, if you're looking to move up with your family, buy a nice, modest family home, it's a challenge right now. It's all eyes on deck and all hands on deck. And when the right property hits the market and, we're going, and at some point, some of those transactions, people just have to go strong and pay above or at asking price.
Yeah. So what are
and that's been, good for the grand scheme of real estate, good for, your folks who have lived in the neighborhood for 20 years. And, a lot of Central Illinois has maintained a pretty steady, not appreciating like Florida and Arizona and some other places. So it's nice to see that we're starting to get some appreciation levels.
Yeah.
And, I think it's going to taper off here in the next year, probably 2022. We'll probably see a little bit more inventory, but I think I don't think there's going to be any bucket of fallout here in the market.
Nice.
Good deal.
What have been some driving factors behind that reduction in availability?
Low interest rates for one.
Yep.
I mean,
Okay.
now's a pretty attractive time to move up in size. A growing family, if you're pushing the walls in your house, like there's probably no better time to lock into a good family home that you can grow in the course of the next 10 to 15 years in. And then COVID, that's been a big factor. Just your corporations aren't relocating people across the country. A lot of people have been working from home. So why is a company going to, spend thousands of dollars to move them across state lines when, hey, if you're working from your home office or your basement anyway, might as well stay there. So I think a lot of that we'll see start to shake up. And I think that's going to play effect into 2022 and 23.
Absolutely. I think I just saw, and Zane, you might know more about this. Did ADM just announce a new extension of, it was like jet fuel or something like that?
Yes. Yeah. Yesterday that just hit the headline, and that's going to be a new facility here, right at their main production campus in the east side of Decatur.
I'm sure that'll help the real estate sales right there. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it all comes down to jobs, and that's probably the biggest thing that Central Illinois, I think that's probably the biggest opportunity that we have. We have a pretty ready workforce in comparison to other areas across the country. And, the more jobs that we can bring here, the better that Central Illinois is going to grow. You look at like Rivian and Bloomington, that's tipping the needle there.
Yeah.
So, more of that in all of the Central Illinois communities is it's really going to make us blossom over the next 5 to 10 years.
On the commercial side, you spoke a little bit about individuals needing more room in their residential home just because maybe they are working from home now. On the commercial side, have you seen much of an effect in our area just based off of commercial buildings? Because employers are like, well, we are going to be able to maybe downsize the size of building that we have because we can, allow some employees to work from home. Have you seen much of an effect here in our area?
It's still early on, but I think there is going to be some office market, more availability in office market. And the office market has kind of been one of those things due to technology, due to Zoom that we're on right now. It's kind of been, teetering a little bit, I could say. And I think COVID really just expedited that. So I think you're going to see more of a shift to smaller footprints in the office market. I don't think you're going to see as many corporations needing, 20,000 feet. They might be able to get by with just 10. So that's something we're going to see. And typically in Central Illinois, we're not a huge office market. Springfield probably has the most office out of all the Central Illinois communities. And they have a lot of extra inventory on the market. And I think even more so as leases and those conversations come up between landlords and tenants. And I think there's going to be quite a few tenants saying, hey, you know, do you have anything smaller? Can we chop off a portion, and can you lease out that wing, and we'll just work with the wing we have.
Yep. I think you're exactly right. So on the marketing and sales side, Zane, what are some tactics? And you don't have to give away like any industry or any, you know, secret sauces that you have there at Main Place, but what have you seen to be beneficial to you as far as like social media, or what type of marketing campaigns are you using to bring clients in?
Yeah, social media has really been huge, and it was kind of taking off as I was just getting in the business, and I feel like I was probably one of the first realtors in the Decatur area to really start using it and putting dollars behind it. And now it's getting to the point where, you know, it's I don't want to say it's at its peak, but it's evolving. Now, you know, a Facebook ad might not get you as far, because the audience that I might want to reach is on TikTok or, you know, something else. And I'm getting to the point where, you know, I have to stay focused on what's ahead of me. So I'm, you know, I used to be younger and want to download every app and the newest thing and create a profile. And now I'm kind of like, but what's great is we have a full-time marketing director and a marketing team. So they're on top of all that, and really just staying on it, trying out different things. Sometimes, you know, it's surprising. You know, we ran a campaign on Snapchat, I think, and it did very well.
Cool.
Versus where we were putting revenue on Facebook. So
Nice.
I think social media, it's really changed, and I like it because it's measurable, more so than a billboard, more so than a radio ad that, okay, you know, this is getting broadcast to how many people, but how many people are really listening at that point in time, or is it the radio that's in someone's basement just running? So that's what I really like about it. The digital and the social media advertising is the click-through rate, and it's trackable, and I can see my marketing dollars to work. As opposed
it's 100% transparent, you know, and it's as good a spend as you can get. And like you said, I know Facebook is becoming, it's very competitive as far as that goes. So your dollars per, you know, what you're trying to advertise, it's as competitive as it has ever been. You spoke a little bit about LinkedIn earlier, that was your favorite social media platform. Do you utilize that for your business? And, you know, like, what do you like best about it? And how do you utilize it?
Yeah. I really like best about it just probably the information, the articles that are shared. I think it just has a higher caliber. It piques my interest more so than, you know, complaining about gas prices. You know, on LinkedIn, there's probably an article that explains why gas prices are going up. On Facebook, there's, you know, 50 of my friends taking pictures at the pump saying gas prices are brutal. So, you know, that's probably my number one reason for liking LinkedIn, is just the information out there. For business purposes, I like being able to share our properties on it, especially our commercial properties. That's probably our main focus. There's going to be other business decision makers out there. So that's the platform that we really push our commercial inventory on.
Yep. I agree. I try to spend less and less time on Facebook and even Instagram. Instagram is just kind of a mindless scrolling through pictures. And I've found almost all of my ideas come from LinkedIn. Most of our ideas, I'll speak for Garrett too, are not original. We just hear them on LinkedIn or a podcast or something and make them our own. So yeah, for those listeners out there, if you're not on LinkedIn, even if you're trying to post, so what we found, so Garrett and I utilize a platform for social media management called Lately. I think the website's lately.ai. And basically you can blast out your stuff to all your platforms, and the same post that we put on Facebook that gets 2 likes will get 25 likes, or, you know, the engagement is, 10 times what it is on Facebook compared to LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has just been, and the other thing that I noticed on LinkedIn, I literally, it was almost a year to the day that I had posted a picture. I was a guest on a podcast like last year in September. And I posted a picture and a little blurb whenever that podcast went live. And I just, for some reason, someone liked it like recently. And now it's like got 25 extra likes. And it was a post from a year ago that is reappearing. That would never happen on Facebook.
No.
So it's like your
10 years ago it would have.
Right. So your content's like never dead on LinkedIn. It can always, people are seeing stuff months after you actually post it. which can really help with your visibility. So yeah, so that's my rant on Facebook versus LinkedIn. I like LinkedIn too.
That's awesome.
Well, cool. So as you have grown, Zane, in the real estate market, what are some hurdles that you've had to overcome? What have been some of the biggest struggles you've had? I know it's put you on the spot here.
Oh man.
Probably just being patient, having and this is probably relates not really just to real estate, but growing any business is just being patient and, kind of getting into the process. And that's something, having played golf and caddied at a young age and being around the golf game, that's kind of something that I see it very relatable to business. And that's probably why when I was caddying in middle school, high school for business owners and hedge fund managers and stuff, why some of those guys rose through the ranks is just understand the process. And, sometimes you have the vision, you want to be here, it's within reach, but just constantly reaching for that and making sure you're taking the right steps along the way. And I think a lot of times that comes to patience. I think that's where you get people that get burnt out, frustrated, and constantly chasing the new shiny object instead of just persistently climbing up to reach that final vision.
Absolutely.
I watch a lot of Gary V, and there's stuff that I enjoy of Gary V, and there's stuff that's a little crazy, but he talks about that all the time. It's the process. And if you start something just strictly because of money and income, typically it doesn't always work out. And if you stick to the process and know there's going to be an end goal and put your client or customer first, it typically will work out. But it may not feel like it when the blood, sweat, and tears are going in for those first couple of years. But if you can make it through that transition period, it's amazing how things will start to change as things progress and you move forward. So that's
100%
truth to what you said.
Yep. For sure.
Firm believer of that. Yeah.
So Zane, we're actually already getting close to our time here. So before we hop off, is there anything that you want to leave us with? Any thoughts or ideas that are brewing at the Main Place Real Estate Shop?
No, this has been great. This has been a lot of fun. I think my last point of just, patience and persistence, that's probably the two P's that really stand out in my vocabulary. And I think that attributes to a lot of success. And, I think asking questions and having mentors as well. That's something I've been fortunate to have, multiple mentors. Sometimes some mentors are real estate related, some mentors are business related, some mentors are creative, advertising related, but having a lot of mentors and peers. And if you don't know the question, ask, because a lot of people are willing to give you some time and help you out. And it really, really can advance you forward. And that's what I've tried to do. And that's what we try to do with our firm here at Main Place.
Awesome.
Very nice. Good advice. So before we hop off here, Zane, what if our viewers or listeners want to contact you, what are some ways that they can reach you?
Yeah, absolutely. Our website, www.mainplace.us. That is our primary website. You can click on agents, and my phone number is there. My cell phone number, 217-454-8800. Email zane@mainplace.us. Or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, etc.
There you go.
Very nice.
The world's been getting a lot smaller due to
Isn't it?
Zoom and social media. So
if you want to be found, it's pretty easy today. So
that's right.
And so for all you listeners out there, make sure you're subscribing to the CIBL podcast on whatever platform you consume podcasts on, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. We should be on all of them now. So also, while you're there, leave a review. It'll help us out with our visibility, and we greatly appreciate you listening. Until next time, Zane, you've officially been civilized. Thanks for being on, man.
All right.
Thanks,
Derek. Thanks, Derek.
Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/CIBL podcast. You can also follow us on LinkedIn. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It's the civilized thing to do.